Are you aware that these transcripts have not been released to the public?
I have no awareness of anything. I have awareness of what my client
That's an
tells me.
interesting admission.
That was America First legal vice president Gene Hamilton having a moment of truthfulness. This was during a House Judiciary Immigration Subcommittee hearing on the Biden administration's southern border policy, which, thanks to Jerry Nadler, actually veered onto a different topic. So now Hamilton was facing off against Nadler, who, again, as you saw, literally laughed in his face. Upon hearing Nadler, Hamilton attempted to save face, saying, well, I have awareness of what my clients tell me. Well, talk about a low bar, right? So let me give you context in case you're wondering what this is about. So Nadler had taken exception to an America First amicus brief filed last year in the upcoming Supreme Court case, Missouri v. Biden. So that actually involves social media and efforts to combat false information, okay? For example, from maybe foreign powers to try to attempt to influence elections, right? So now America First brief referenced transcripts from committee hearings that were never released to the public. So wait, hold on. So they've never been released to the public and not even released to other members of Congress. So how the hell did this guy get a hold of them? I mean, it turns out Hamilton, the brief's co-author, was representing Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio and a group of Republican House representatives in this case. So again, this case involves allegations that the government was forcing social media companies to target and silence conservative voices, right? So now this guy gets a secret transcript that only members of the committee could see, while the rest of Congress cannot see them, while representing a member of Congress. So very clearly, he had gotten these transcripts from one of those Republican members of that committee. Fascinating. So now when Nadler asked him about it, he said, well, I can't share it with you. I can't share if this information is actually true or not, because it's protected by attorney-client privilege. He said, the way that I talk to my clients, the way that I receive information from them is protected. Nadler disagreed with that and explained that he believes that the interviews that Hamilton cited were misrepresented and reminded Hamilton that it's a sanctionable violation of federal civil procedure to misrepresent facts before a tribunal. So he's basically saying, I think you're full of crap, okay, in this brief. I think your briefs are full of crap. Perhaps even literally.
Dumps. They call them dumps.
Okay.
Big, massive dumps.
I know. So now, how do you know they weren't misrepresented then? Well, you would have to have them released. So Nadler says, well, why don't you help me release them? Why don't you, get to Jim Jordan and tell him to release these transcripts so that I know that your briefs are not full of crap, to put it that way. So now Hamilton refused. He's like, no, I will not release them. Well, how come? If they're not misrepresented, then there shouldn't be an issue with releasing the transcripts, right? That you are citing. Well, I guess we're going to be stuck right now with having no awareness of anything either, at least relating to this. And I can't even say that we're in good company because we're really not. So Hamilton, not exactly a great guy, okay? Now, I want to read a couple of social media accounts that weighed in here. One person says that would be the understatement of the hearing and also applies to his client, Jim Jordan, as far as, not knowing anything, having no awareness of anything. Another said, I have no awareness of anything is the least troubling thing this guy said. The rest of it was much worse. And another person asked, was this guy hired from Groupon? Well, actually, it's worse. So this guy used to work for the Trump administration doing some of their worst policies, okay? Hamilton served within the Trump Department of Justice. He played key roles in ending the DACA program, creating the Trump administration's zero-tolerance family separation policy, where they were, separating families at the border and keeping kids in cages, okay? As well as revoking the temporary protected status of immigrants from Sudan and South Sudan. And in that case, by the way, in the TPS assessments, he tried to erase references to human rights violations, right? The people that were coming over from Sudan and South Sudan were having their human rights violated. And this guy was like, I'm just going to go in and erase that part from the records so that it makes it so that they're not able to come into the United States. This is a sick individual, someone who is deeply racist, okay? And now he is working for a legal organization founded by people like Stephen Miller, okay? So he gets along with them very, very well. And in fact, in this role, he has represented the state of Texas in a lawsuit attempting to bar unaccompanied migrant children from entering the United States. So that's who this guy is, right? And so I'm not at all surprised that he's hiding the ball from other members of Congress in a case that, once again, is based on the debunked claim that the government was ordering social media companies to silence conservative voices, especially when it comes to the Hunter Biden thing. And it all comes back to you see, the laptop story. They buried the laptop story. No, the government's like, hey, watch out for Russian disinformation, And so people looked at that laptop story, which ended up being true. And it actually is Hunter Biden's laptop, right? And they're like, that smells kind of fishy. We're not going to run this. Now, eventually they did, okay? And eventually it was proven that, yes, that was indeed Hunter Biden's laptop, and that the companies that refused to run that story were wrong, or ran it and then pulled messages, I believe tweets offline, citing that, we think this is disinformation, right? And by the way, Twitter had also pulled those tweets offline, citing disinformation from these these organizations that were actually running that story. And so that was their mistake, but it wasn't the government that was ordering them to do that, and there's no evidence of it. Once again, conservatives love to cry victim and say, you're violating my free speech. No, because it's a private company. They can essentially do whatever they want because you sign a terms of service, right? So that's how that works. Now, the case is currently pending in the Supreme Court thanks to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the most conservative circuit in the country and has been a pipeline of right-wing cases going to the highest court. So now the reason that I bring this up about who this guy really is the fact that Nadler is right to be concerned that Republicans are out there misrepresenting facts in that case to the tribunal. And because this lawyer has access to documents that Congress as a whole doesn't and refuses to release them, so they can't actually verify that what he's saying in those legal documents is the truth. And Nadler is 100% right not to trust anything that comes out of this guy's mouth.